Got a little breaking news here for you. This Philadelphia 76ers, according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, are in advanced talks on a deal to hire former Rockets GM Daryl Morey to oversee the franchise's basketball operations. A deal is expected to be finalized in the next few days. Morey, of course, resigned from the same position in Houston earlier this month after spending 13 years with the Rockets.
He wanted to spend more time with his family.
His record certainly speaks for himself. And we now welcome in Woj to the jump. Thank you, Woj, so much for joining us. Look, I know Richard is already sitting here in the studio with the whole speak of he wanted to spend more time with his family, which is what we heard just a couple weeks ago. So how did these conversations between Daryl and Sixers ownership start? Because they did go after him a couple years ago, right?
Rachel, Richard, they did go after him a couple years ago, and he really essentially leveraged it into a new contract in Houston. That was a time when Philadelphia talked to a few top executives around the league, but things were very different this time. He worked out his exit with the Rockets and almost immediately, in fact, immediately, started to talk with the Sixers. These conversations have been ongoing for a few weeks. I'm told Daryl Morey's in Philadelphia now, met with ownership. I know he's talked with Doc Rivers, the coach. They have history together going back to their time in Boston. And Daryl Morey talked to Doc Rivers about coming to the Rockets before he left there. So that deal is being finalized now. There's essentially an agreement in principle. They're just working through the language in the contract, but they're going to have a formal announcement, I'm told, here in the next couple days, and Daryl Morey will take over as the president of basketball operations with the Sixers.
So what would the hiring of him as president impact the GM, Elton Brand?
Well, right now I'm told that the plan is for Elton Brand to stay and continue as GM. Obviously, he'll be second on their, on their org chart, but listen, I think there'll be some conversations between Daryl Morey and Elton Brand and see how they might work together. I know Doc Rivers and I know ownership there feel very strongly about Elton Brand. I think there's an expectation now he will stay, but listen, Elton Brand went from being the decision maker to not being the decision maker now, and that's probably something I think he's going to think through. I know he's going to talk with Daryl in the organization, but the expectation is that Morey wants him to stay. Doc Rivers wants him their ownership, and so that's I think a conversation that'll be ongoing here as Morey gets settled in.
Such an interesting story. So many layers. Of course, the Sixers let go Sam Hinkie years ago. Sam Hinkie had Daryl Morey as a member. As a mentor. Everything comes back around in this league. Before you go, Woj, I want to catch up with you on the negotiations going on this week between the Players Union and the league. There's a deadline this Friday about coming to an agreement on, frankly, so many things. Are they going to be able to get it done by then? What do you expect?
Right now, I don't get a sense that they can come to terms on all the items they need to by Friday, Rachel, and we've reported this a few times. They pushed this date back. Essentially, the league still holds the right to terminate the collective bargaining agreement. Actually, the players could do the same because of the pandemic. There's been no indication that that's something the league, or certainly not the players, want to do. They want to make some adjustments to the current CBA, largely in terms of the salary cap, because they've lost so much revenue and they expect to lose so much more revenue this season. But the league really wants to start before Christmas. Financially, I think they've showed the players how significant the difference is between starting then, and that also allows them to finish sooner and get next season back on track with a normal schedule. And to finish by the Olympics, they've got to do a 72-game regular season. So those talks are ongoing. I expect them, though, to probably extend beyond this week, Rachel.
Really interesting. Well, we'll be looking for your reporting on that and everything else this week. Thank you so much for the news on Daryl Morey. We will see you soon. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.